Walking the path of compassion. There's a video I want to start today with. And it's a video I've shown, I have no idea how long ago, but I know I've shown it before. But I searched and searched, and this still speaks out to me about compassion. So I'd like you to just pay attention to this. Would you? Would you? But we don't see what they see. We don't hear what they hear. Because I think we're so wrapped up in our own lives that that video just strikes me. It really does. And as a result of doing and looking at that video, I revisited a book called The Quest. And if you can tell, I've had to tape this book because I use it so much as a reference guide. And I'm actually going to read to you. It's titled Relationships, but it's understanding and being understood. And I'm just going to read you this one paragraph out of it. It's titled, Look for the Golden Thread. Since each of us are a part of the one, there is an underlying sameness to us all. Parts of the one seek to connect with other parts of the one. There is a level in every human soul which knows no conflict, no competition, or contempt. It is a level at which one knows only peace and harmony and love. I'm going to repeat that. There is a level in every human being, in every human soul, which knows no conflict, no competition, no contempt. It is a level which knows only peace, harmony, and love. In fact, it is peace and harmony and love because it is the Christ essence in each of us. It is our innate divinity, and on that level there is no distinction between you and any other individual. It is one unbroken and unbreakable golden thread, stitching all of us together. If we will allow ourselves to search for it, every one of us can find that golden link to all humanity. We can find it in ourselves, and we can find it in others. Whoever is in this world religions class that we've been taking and Angela's been leading, Unity in the World Religions, I'm hearing this in the last two classes. Everybody's been saying, oh, there's the golden thread again. There's the golden thread. As we cover another world religion, we say, there's the golden thread between that religion and unity. Oh, there's the golden thread between that religion and unity. It's every single religion that we're covering. The class keeps saying, there's another golden thread. And so it goes on to say, is there a relationship which has you upset, frustrated, or depressed? It doesn't matter if it's a spouse, a child, an acquaintance, a relative, or a friend. And I'm going to add, it doesn't matter if it's the person who just cut you off in traffic, right? If you want to improve, the method is the same. Lift up your consciousness. Lift yourself up in consciousness. Lift yourself out of any negative emotions and reactions and become aware of the presence of God within you. It is as simple as that. The reason it always works is because when you feel the presence, capital P, the presence, it will automatically be communicated from that level. It will automatically be communicated from that level, from you to the other person. At some level, they are picking up. Everything is a vibration. So when you can hold that higher consciousness, remember I always share with you, and many of you have adapted the same. When somebody cuts you off in traffic, Michael taught us all, what do? Lift our consciousness by going, namaste, welcome to my lane. It raises your... She is a metro driver, and she says, I do it on the bus every day. It works because that saying just shifts your consciousness into where you want to cuss them out and you want to go up and rush ahead of them and just give them a nasty look. Instead, doing namaste shifts all that into a higher consciousness. We just sang that, didn't we, before meditation? Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness. Yes. And know that always there. Oh, I love it. Let's start with a verse from 1 Peter. Look at that picture. I love that. Finally, all of you have unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Finally, all of you have unity of spirit. Oh. We're hoping, keep visioning a world that works for all. Let's go to the next slide. We're all walking a bumpy path. Fess up. You have grandchildren? You might think, oh, my life is so good. Well, let's bring in the grandchildren and let's bring in, family and work life and driving the metro bus, right? So walk with kindness and compassion. We all have it, as you saw in that video. Every single person has something. There's a difference between sympathy and compassion. And it demonstrates a critical effect of compassion in another person's life. Let me point this out. Sympathy looks in and says, I'm sorry. Compassion goes in and says, I'm with you. Sympathy looks in and says, I would like to help. Compassion goes in and says, I'm here to help. Sympathy says, I wish I could carry your burden. Compassion says, cast your burden on me. Sympathy often irritates with many words. Saying too much can irritate the person with your sympathy, right? Compassion helps and hears in quietness and understanding. Compassion says, I asked Christy to give me a definition of what she thought compassion was because she works a lot and has to be compassionate with people. And it isn't that she has to. She literally chooses to be compassionate with people. And she says, to me, Mom, it means I want to be here with you. I want to. I'm not here because I have to. I want to be here with you. There's a story that I found, and it talks about a young man named Mark, and he's walking home from school one day, and he notices the boy ahead of him is tripped, and he's dropped all of his belongings. He's carrying 2 sweaters, a baseball bat, a glove, and a small tape recorder besides his books. Mark caught up with him, knelt down, he helped the boy pick up all his belongings, and since they were actually going the same way, he helped carry some of his load, and they walked until they got to Bill's house, and as they walked, they talked, and he found out that Bill loved video games, and he loved baseball, and he loved history, but that he was failing in all the other subjects at school. And they arrived at Bill's home, and his parents were there, and they invited Mark in for a Coke. And so they sat down, they had a Coke, and they watched a little bit of TV and talked a little more, and then Mark went on his way and went home. So they continued to see each other in school every now and then, would say hello in the hall, or every now and then they'd eat lunch together. And Then they graduated from junior high, ended up going to the same high school. So again, they continued just seeing each other once in a while and pleasantries and maybe having lunch once in a while. But it came to the point of 3 weeks out before graduation. And Bill catches Mark in the hallway and he says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And Mark says, "Sure, what?" He said, you know, did you ever wonder why I had all that stuff? You know, I told you I had emptied my locker out that day. He said, "Did you wonder why I had all that stuff in my hands?" And he goes, "Well, honestly, no, I didn't really think about it." Bill said, "Well, I had emptied out my locker because I didn't want anybody to have to deal with my stuff because I was going home to commit suicide that day." He said, "Your compassionate heart in helping me and talking to me gave me just the thread of hope that I needed to not go through with it. Had it not been for you, I would have missed all these years of joy and hope and struggle had it not been for you." Compassion is a character that is a trait in everyone. However, it is a trait that sometimes goes forgotten. It's something you can develop with practice. It involves two things: intention and action. The intention is simply opening your heart to others, and the action is what you do after you've opened your heart to others. Oh, I could go on. I can't believe time is already going up. I'm just going to run through some really quick, because there were some ideas of real-world ways to show compassion every day, regardless of how you feel about the effectiveness of wearing a mask in this pandemic. I had to go get x-rays, right? I'm not used to wearing a mask anymore, but I do keep one hanging in my car. But I had to go get x-rays yesterday morning, and I go up to the door, and it's like, oh, mask required, okay? So instead of going, I don't know why I'm not going to drop this stupid mask mandate, I'm like, oh, crud. My car's parked all the way over there. Nobody's in the lobby, so I sneak in the door, and I'm thinking they got to have a box of masks somewhere. Well, of course they do. I put on the mask, and that's what we do, right? Instead of fighting with resistance, we just are compassionate because there's people that need us to be wearing our mask. And when they do and they ask me, I put it on. If I'm in a one-on-one and you say, "Would you please put your mask on?" Absolutely. I don't fight it. Because we have compassion for each other as human beings. Is that true? Yes. So that's one thing. Practice acts of kindness. Boy, we all can do something of that, can't we? It's easy. Just go to Kroger, discount flowers, $5 for a bouquet, and hand it to a stranger and watch their face. It's amazing. Open the door for somebody. Isn't that nice? Motivate others with words. Oh, there's a lot of examples on here that I want to give you. You know, Michael shared this morning with me a quote, and it says, "Misery, so give them some." Want me to say that again? Misery, so give them company. Doesn't mean you have to wallow in with them, but be compassionate. I thought, what a great idea. You know, did the pandemic help us open our personal borders, or did it create more personal borders? Did it help us open our personal borders, or did it create borders? Right. What? It created more borders, right? Because now we got to be 6 feet away from each other. Remember all you're going back not too long ago, right? Okay, no hugging, no touching, no handshake, no papers, no anything, right? Remember all that? Okay, by the end of year 1 in that pandemic, would you say people were more extroverted or introverted? absolutely introverted, okay? Let's show that next slide. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. Okay, yesterday I am going to pick at the Bonbonnery Bakery. Many people know the Bonbonnery. Oh, very famous, right? Especially wedding cakes. Well, Michael's oldest grandson's getting married in Brookville, Ohio. Not Indiana, Brookville, Ohio. And we are in charge of getting the cake from Bonbonnery and delivering it to Brookville, Ohio. Anybody know how expensive wedding cakes are? Right. Okay, so Michael's got the car pulled up to the door. Air conditioning's on 60 because we're supposed to have a cold car. And now here I am. Now it was not this big of a wedding cake, but it was this big, and it's expensive, right? So I've got the wedding cake in my hand. I had a dress on about this length, and I've got it in my hand, and the bakery's crowded, and I'm like, could somebody please open the door for me? All right, somebody opens the door. I go out on the first step, and I got to go down 5 steps. And I'm like, and Michael doesn't see me. He's in the car running the air conditioning. And I'm like, oh, brother, I'm afraid I'm going to trip on my dress. With that thought, a lady comes up, and she just grabs my dress and goes like this, right? And then she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Am I in your bubble? I forgot what bubble meant. Remember the bubble? This is your bubble group, right? She goes, oh, I'm so sorry. Am I in your bubble? I'm so grateful you're helping me, right? So she goes down the steps with me holding my dress, and I'm like, thank you. She says, well, nowadays, you never know if people, you got to respect their bubbles or not. And I'm like, she didn't care. She just grabbed my dress, right, and helped. These are little acts of compassion, believe it or not. I mean, it doesn't take that much. Let's go to this. Oh, I just love Thich Nhat Hanh. I'm going to read this slowly. One compassionate word, action, or thought can reduce another person's suffering and bring them joy. One word can give comfort and confidence. One word can destroy doubt, help someone avoid a mistake, reconcile a conflict. Be sure if you want to take a picture of this, please do so and share it. And reconcile a conflict or open a door to liberation. One action can save a person's life or help him take advantage of a rare opportunity. One thought can do the same because thoughts always lead to words and actions. With compassion in our heart, every thought, word, and deed can bring about a miracle. Was that not the Billy and Mark story? Just think about the difference you can make, which ends up, I don't know about you, but every time I just know that when that lady grabbed my dress, there was 2 smiling people there, her and I. Let's do the personal affirmation for this week. This is what I wrote for hoping that you will remember this. And please take a picture of it. And honestly, if you share this on your Facebook, name where you got this quote. Because people do not know that unity is out here and what we represent and talk about. So let's say this together. My spiritual union with others transcends borders, and I claim the highest, most fulfilling life for all soul companions. Listen to that, all soul companions. That's everyone. Whether they agree with you or not, that's everyone. Hey, let's one more time. My spiritual union with others transcends borders, and I claim the highest, most fulfilling life for all soul companions. I don't even know where I read it, and I don't know if I can come up with the saying, but here it is. And part of the ways to show compassion: share a hug or a handshake. I know about the pandemic, but I also know the power of touch. And I think about, there was somebody I talked to several days ago, and she attended really regularly here. And I was saying, well, I hope someday you come back in the sanctuary. Now, I don't know who's on Facebook or not, but she said, oh, well, I'm very faithful watching on Facebook. And I thought, wonderful. I'm so grateful for Facebook. But I'm going to tell you, when you can let down your borders and get back in here in the community, there is something that transcends. And truly, I believe that. And I see some people that I haven't seen in a very long time, and I love it. And when I saw the two boys come in, I was like, oh my gosh, they're here. I follow you all on Facebook. You know I'm a Facebook stalker with our congregants. I keep up with all your lives. As my daughter says, that's the Facebook lives, Mom. We don't show the other stuff, right? Oh, all right. This last slide is my wish for you, but this is Maya Angelou's wish to the world. My wish for you is that you continue to be who you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. This is the only way we're going to change our world, is by being more compassionate, more understanding, doing random acts of kindness, breaking down your borders of security. And I mean security as we are walking. Michael and I were having a conversation about this before. Why is it that nobody in that bakery saw me but one person? Because so many of us are walking this way. We are so consumed with our own lives and our own agenda. We aren't in the restaurant business. I train my employees, it called it circle vision. When you walk through that restaurant, you better have circle vision. Not just table 3 needs a cup of coffee. What about table 14, 12, and 10 are also low on coffee? That's circle vision. Walking with a broader perspective in life so that you see when there are people who need something, not just here. That's my wish for you. And Maya Angelou, thank you. As I say namaste, that the Christ presence in me truly sees and honors the Christ presence in each and every one of you. Namaste.